Well, gentlemen. I have been playing in the recent tournament that occurred last Saturday. That is Saturday the 22nd. It was a 1v1 tournament, and I faced off against Besty as part of it. So I'm over here playing as the Lord Commissar, and Besty down here playing as the Mech Boy. This is Tiamat's Paradise, or Tiamat's Paradise. It's a map that I don't think I've ever even featured on the channel. I hate this water. I might have played it once, or cast it once rather. It reminds me of RuneScape. I feel like I've said this before. I don't know if I said it on my YouTube channel or not. It reminds me of the really old RuneScape water that couldn't blend into the edges. It's a big problem in game design. Anyway, it really irks me, and it's part of the reason I don't like to play this map. But it's also a very, very small map. As you can see here, my Sentinel coming out and putting a lot of pressure onto the Orc Boys instantly. But once again, fucking tank traps, man. Honestly, they are the bane of my life in Dawn of War 2. The fact that tank traps are everywhere drives me mad. So you just can't kill the units inside the cover of the tank traps at all. So I'm trying to focus the sluggers who are capping, because obviously they're out in the open when they're capping. But the second shooter boy squad arrives, so I've got to back off. And Besty is doing his signature triple shooters, putting a lot of pressure right now, literally just forcing melee on the Sentinel with War being used to give them that speed and damage boost. I've got to get my Sent out of there. And over here, pretty bad opening for me in general. Mech Boy has found my guardsmen. I must have mismicroed and moved them forward a little bit too far and not into cover, because the Mech Boy managed to claim a couple of models. But the Sergeant does arrive, but the Sergeant isn't fighting in melee, I don't think. No, he is. So I think I will win that fight, but only just. Trying to stall there with the Commissar whilst the Sentinel gets some repairs. But really the point of this, while Bleeder would be nice, at the very least it stopped him from capping, but now his third shooter's out and he is capping that, and he's getting the big shooters on them as well, which is smart. Notice how he puts the big shooter on the one at the back, because that's the one with the most health. So it's least likely to be forced off. Very smart there by Besty. So I think when I see the triple shooter, I decide I'm going to counter that with triple guardsmen, which makes sense. Guardsmen are very cost-effective line infantry. They're more cost-effective when they're in cover, which they weren't right there. So again, the mech is going to stall by going in the tank trap, and there's nothing you can do. So annoying. But here comes the triple guardsman. So they will be able to stand and trade pretty damn effectively with the shooters. Certainly in tier 2 they'll scale a lot better with the Commissar. They will just handily beat fully upgraded shooters then, which is awesome, because they bleed way less due to the 3-for-1 reinforce. But you got to get to tier 2. In the meantime, the Sentinel can tank damage in tier 1. An attempted deployable cover here, but I don't even have the Sergeant yet, so just too squishy against double shooters in the open. This is the thing with this map. You have a few tank traps on the sides, but to be honest, a lot of the map is pretty damn open. So it's a very good map for IG, actually. It's one thing I realised. So right there, I'm just going to stay stationary with the guardsmen. Again, we're fighting in open. Everyone's in the open right now. There's no cover. But I'm happy to take those trades. Bleed those shooters. Okay, I'm bleeding some models as well, but, you know, it's only guardsmen. We'll be alright. But I need to get the Commissar over, really, to get in the thick of it. And this is a good engagement here, because these shooters are too weak, and yeah, they just got to get out of there. I mean, look at all these lasguns, man. They are punishing. This lasgun buff is a beautiful thing. I really love it. So Sentinel going to rush over to the VP to get that decap. What's the Commissar doing? Notices the sluggers. He's going to go pursue them. Whilst the sluggers don't have burners, the Commissar will win quite easily. But I'm going for Carapace anyway. So, without a doubt, that will be an easy victory. I'm pretty sure he wins anyway if they don't have burners. The extra HP they get from burners will change it. But then with Carapace, I don't know if Carapace Commissar can beat burner sluggers. That'd be an interesting one to scrim. We'll have to test that. So all the guardsmen are over here on the right-hand side, which means my Commissar's isolated, taking a lot of damage right now from the triple shooter blob. Remember that big shooters have higher range than normal weapons. They've got 41 range compared to the standard of 38. So it's very good when you're pursuing foes that are fleeing from you, which is part of how orcs work when you generate timing pushes. But here comes my guardsman. However, Besty has the electric armor, which is going to be brutal here because I didn't anticipate it. And just the sheer damage output of this is absolutely insane. I'm going in for a stomp. Only hits 2 models. And the electric armor has absolutely rinsed my backline of guardsmen. So now I don't have the repair support that I anticipated that I would have. And the mech boy finishes my sentinel off. So yeah, not anticipating electric armor there completely screwed me. Bled so many models, and most importantly, I lost my bloody sentinel. Crazy investment really from Besty though. Triple big shooters and a shooter knob, burners and electric armor. Very expensive. Now I need a way to CC this mech boy in the future, so if he teleports in like that, he doesn't just get a load of crazy damage against me. So I figure I'm going to get some Kadishan Devils. I can shotgun blast this fool away when he teleports in. Try and control him better. I'd say that, you know, you can counter it by splitting up, but realistically, when I'm fighting triple shooters, I don't really want to be splitting up, or the guardsmen are just going to get wrecked one by one piecemeal. An alternative here that I could be getting is I could be going for las turrets, but the immobility of that is a bit scary. The sluggers in tier 2, without me having a sentinel, is quite scary as well. Not too bad to kill them with las guns in tier 1, but honestly in tier 2, it's yeah, it's not easy when they get that slugger knob. So I like to have Kadishans because they can take that role in tier 2. You see right now they're going down and sidelining. And we get the cap, but just the relentless Daka. I mean, this is the thing with this map. You go to the base, it's not very far back to that central VP. Super short distance, and there's not a lot of cover again, as you can see, so it becomes quite bloody. Reliable, not really hitting too much there, and you can see the nerf on it. It just really does not do much damage at all right now. It's mostly just for CC. It doesn't really do damage, which is a shame. Kadishan's forced off there. I was trying to use the line of sight blocker, but just couldn't escape. Kadishans bleed a lot as well, man, now. They're really bad in army versus army engagements. But you gotta get them for the CC, and now the problem is my Kadishans have already left, so my triple guardsman once again blobbed up. I'm trying to split a bit, but it feels, you know, you can only do so much, right? But Carapace Armor Lord Commissar, an absolute beast, tanking the Daka for ages, and then there's no cover for the mech in the end. So the good thing with this build for me, I've got a lot of VP lead right now. Still draining him, gonna get some more if I can decap this, and Commissar heals up nicely from that HP regen and the Carapace. Oh, misclicked the VP though, whoops. Hopefully I do get the decap here, that'll be really bad. I'm not gonna, am I? What a fucking noob. I only just realised now. Yes, I'll probably get the decap now, but then be forced off by shooters. Whereas I could have stayed in play if I hadn't misclicked that like an idiot. If I responded straight away, I would have been able to get out of there as well. So, I don't know what the logic is here. Trying to get a model kill. Oh, I was stalling to finish the decap and the cap, so the guardsmen were then free to shoot at whatever was capping. But the pressure is a bit too much with these sluggers, and you see this, that's what's scary about the sluggers. Oh, but I did drop a las turret in the mid. Okay, but this is pretty bad because it's just going to get outflanked. Oh, I didn't see the... That was really bad. I didn't realise the sluggers were still in play and they're just going to burn down my turret. Oops. That was stupid. Should have kept the Kadishans in play to force off the burners. And then that last turret would have stayed in play and I'd have put even more VP pressure on. But I like that play though. Remember with Carapace Armor you get a cheaper execute. It goes down to 30 energy only, which is really cool. So I used the retreat there because it was an isolated guardsman squad that would have got DPS down very easily. Just to get him out, obviously with the range damage resistance because of retreat. And then kept them in play, -1 model with the execute, which is nice. Now I'm just executing for the damage buffs. 100% extra damage to all the remaining models. Trying to bleed the shooters that are out in the open right now. And I'm tier 2 and I've got stubbornness on the Commissar. So this gives him regular procs of healing that vary in strength and frequency based on the quantity of units nearby. Basically, the more troops that are nearby, the more and the faster he will get his little procs of healing. So I mean, it fits the name really, stubbornness. He's very stubborn to die with this warrior. You can see one of the procs of healing there. But yeah, Besty's got a Death Dread, and one thing that I keep saying to players over and over again, if you're fighting at a similar skill level at medium or higher skill in this game, you're really going to struggle to deal with a walker without a snare. You really will. And a transport, you will never kill without a snare, really. I mean, you know, unless the enemy really, really majorly messes up. So, you need to get a snare. I've gone for the last cannon heavy weapons team, which I'm actually currently trying to bait him into. So I'm stalling for a little bit. Make him think, oh shit. Seen it last minute while I'm capping. Pull it back. And then I can execute the heavy weapons team for double damage. Bang. But unfortunately, it is going to survive one more hit. And it just, with the Cult of Speed, Mech Boy Global sneaks around the corner, the little rat, before I can wind up another shot. And that is actually a big deal for me, that. Maybe I should have baited him more this way, not this way. If I killed that Death Dread there, that would have been huge for me. But it's still going to remain in play, and it's getting healed right now by the Mech Boy. It's actually going to go into melee with my Commissar here. Nothing to fear, of course, because I have no weapon. Just, you've got to be wary that the Commissar can always pick up that Xenos Power Claw. I've caught many a player out. In fact, we've seen it on some of the footage I put on against Deimos recently. And a big misplay from Besty there. He just completely mismicros his sluggers. Trying to kill the Commissar. But the electric arm are going to shut down those guardsmen, help the shooters out. These guardsmen now, you see, got Commissars, so they're very, very durable. 1,472 HP. They also got that triple reinforce, which is lovely. But a lot of healing for them to do. Because electric armor distributes all the damage evenly. You get these situations where they're in base with low HP but a lot of models. More Daka on the shooter boys here. Increasing their range damage. I'm just trying to CC them. Stop them shooting but also knock them out of cover. And then Kadashan's run to do some side capping. What we got over here, we've got another shooter boy squad trying to take the point over here. I think I actually go into melee with the Commissar here, because the Commissar is pretty good in melee. About as powerful as a Tactical Marine Sergeant. And then execute the double damage. Definitely going to beat that shooter boy squad there. You see, it was a matter of priority to try and force him off as fast as possible. I was obviously going to win anyway with the Commissar coming, but I just want to get rid of him so I can use the Commissar to cap this point instead. But the rotation from the Death Dread, they're going to get rid of my Commissar. My las cannon now in a pretty awkward position, needs to get moving. Frazzle from the Weird Boy, which is the next purchase from Best Noob here, absolutely devastating my forces right now. That AoE damage is brutal, but to be honest, the big problem for the Best Noob, of course, is the VPs right now. As you can see, 457 VPs to me and only 152 to Best Noob. He did get rid of most of my power, though, so that's something to consider. Yeah, I mean, his eco is looking amazing. Going for a war truck now, though. I suppose he realizes he needs on-field reinforcement so that he stops losing these VPs. But the Weird Boy hiding behind the tank trap. Absolute pain. Hits me with a warp bomb. I should have had the shield up. It obviously would have still stunned, but at least it wouldn't have sent him set him backwards. And yeah, you can see this Death Dread's a pain. Look at these big burner shots, man. Doing some really big damage to my guardsman because of that AoE splash, but he is kind of walking it into a bad spot here. My las cannon is in position and I've got that melter on the sergeant in the back, so Besty kind of just sacrificing it at this point. My Commissar trying his best to tie these things up, but then we've got a looter that appears out of nowhere. So Besty not actually bleeding that much, to be honest. And I am going for the Xenos Power Claw now, really just as an increase in DPS. It's a really big rise in DPS. And my Commissar isn't really being used very defensively, so the Power Sword Battlecry buffs aren't really that helpful. I'd rather just have more damage to kill things like that weird boy, or these annoying, just annoying single entities that hide in tank traps. You see the stubbornness healing really keeping my Commissar in play for a long time here. However, triple shooters and a looter, not sure how long that's going to go on for. Gotta get out of there. Really should be having the last cannon going over this side. Also, he cancelled the truck. Oh man, there's so much going on. Over here, I actually thought the mech boy was so low on HP that I'd kill him with a Guardsman squad going into melee with a Commissar. And I think I would have had he not got electric armor, which gives him plus 200 HP. So the HP bar, the slither of HP that he had was a bit more than normal, because he has plus 200 max HP. And it turns out the mech boy killed my Guardsman squad in melee. He got quite lucky because the Commissar died before the Sarge died. And the Sarge only does like 4 DPS in melee versus the Commissar doing like 20 or something crazy. So it might have been different if the Sarge died before the Commissar. The mech boy might have died in melee. But yeah, pretty big fuck up for me. However, there are only 36 VPs left for Besty. But if we look at the rosters now, he's replaced that Death Dread. He does have no burners and bits on it, mind you, but still. Replaced the Death Dread, and his roster just looks so big. He's got a looter in the back, which I don't really have a counter to because I've got no spotters. So I just drop a flare on that right now because I really want to keep the pressure on. I mean, look at these shooters with their low HP. But I don't know, he's still got triple shooters in place, so the Commissar is going to struggle to get into melee with the looters, especially if he keeps getting knocked over by that crap. My last cannon unfortunately capping on the wrong side of the map. And here's a truck. So we're getting a few more shooter boys. We're getting to melee eventually with the looter, but we're only going to tie it up for a few seconds before we got to retreat. Trying to focus it down, but of course it gets back into the tank traps. We're getting CC'd by the Weird Boy. Weird Boy is so good against Guardsmen. The Frazzle and the basic attacks are just crazy. That huge AoE damage, but the knockback as well, so you can't take cover then against the shooters. Go for a Chimera, because this looter's a nightmare for me, and I want it to swap to a Beamy Death Gun. Because I can't push against it right now. So that's my logic. If I get a Chimera, at least they'll have to swap to a Beamy Death Gun, and then I can push against the looter. So you see the Beamy Death Gun. It's coming up, Kadashins pop out, Kadashins get absolutely fucking wrecked by ranged fire, bleeding 2 models instantly. Good god, Kadashins bleed like crazy at the moment. I don't even think anything changed with the Kadashins. Maybe they did, I don't know, but it just feels like they bleed like mad. They've always had this problem of never being full HP. I guess because of the die last models, but it really hurts when they bleed. But the Death Dread for Besty doing really good. It's caught my fucking last cannon out again, using that Rampage ability to increase its speed. Just as I was rotating, I'm trying to move, and now you've got Cult of Speed in it, giving it even more speed. But I've got a bit of soft AV here. We've got the Power Claw chopping it, and of course you've got the Melter from the Sarge on the Kadashins. But still, it's very durable. And of course it is a melee walker, so it has melee resist, so my Power Claw's not doing too much to it. And I can't get the decap thanks to the Weird Boy, but we are staying in play. Trying to reinforce through the damage, but that's a lot of damage. He was dueling the Lord Commissar for way too long there with his Death Dread. Does it make it out, Beamy Death Gun? No, the Beamy Death Gun catches it at the last minute, and now it has Burners and Bits, which does huge damage through the husk. Look at that melee attack, man. Did that just kill the Sergeant? It did. Wow. You get less red for killing a Sarge than you do a Guardsman. What the fuck? That gave him 2. Wow. 2 red for killing the Sarge. So what did he get? He got the Guardsman Sarge, 2 Guardsmen, and 2 Kadashins from one swing of that Death Dread. And Kadashin Devil's just completely bleeding my economy at the moment. But the VP still pressuring him. I did manage to take this point on the far side. And the heavy weapons team just gets completely wiped. I don't know what I was looking at there. To be fair, my hotkeys are a bit strange at the moment because so many units have died. What happens is they go awry from what they'd normally be. You know, normally my first Guardsman is 2, my Sentinel is 3, my Kadashins are 5. But when your comp starts dying and you've had triple guardsmen and stuff, things get really weird. Anyway, flanking from the Kadashan Devils wipes out the Death Dread and the Beamy Looters there. Besty not paying attention himself, too busy looking at the guardsmen fighting over here as I was showing you guys as well. So that's a big W. He's still got this annoying war truck in play, just a basic war truck, but it's so hard to deal with because I don't have any proper AV. Even with the last cannon that I had, he's using line of sight blockers, so I can't really get an angle on it. I mean, look at what he's doing right there, hiding it behind that line of sight blocker. I mean, how are you going to get an angle on that with a last cannon? I've got to come over here, and again, it's this map with nobody cover. You're just going to get ripped apart by the triple shooters. Very difficult. And this is why I'm starting to drop down some mines. Obviously shooters do detect them, but if I can hit them with an old reliable, or the shooters move away, they'll snare the vehicles, and then I might have a chance to kill the vehicle with something like the Commissar Power Claw. Again, the tank trap, nightmare. Can't kill the weird boy while he's in the tank trap. My melter will go through and do a lot of damage, but the rest of it doesn't. Nearly, I was really hopeful there that he was going to drop his micro and I was going to get one more salvo off on that weird boy and kill him, but it was to no avail. And I just got to get the Kadashans out of there because they're bleeding too much. You know, I could have stalled against the mech boy a little bit, but for what? He's just going to force me off and I'm bleeding. I did manage to save the resources for a Psyker. Now, I really want to point out how useful the Psyker is in this instance. I have a lot to say about the Psyker. It's quite a niche unit at the moment. It obviously did get a lot of nerfs. It was no doubt ridiculously overpowered before when it never missed with its auto attacks. But against triple shooters, you'll see that the damage that the Psyker does is very effective. And he has the strip soul ability, so that when the mech boy, well, you have to purchase it, but when the mech boy teleports in to use the electric armor, hit the mech boy with a strip soul to snare him. He already moves slower when he uses electric armor, so then the double slow, he basically doesn't move at all, so it's very easy. And you have the dome, the telekinetic dome, which protects from ranged fire, so I'm just protecting these guardsmen right now. Ironically, it would have been better to protect that one, but still. Big chunks of damage coming in from the Psyker. And right now, Best Noob completely forgot, I do actually have a Power Claw. And look at this, I'm about to die from shooters. Oh wait, Stubbornness heals me. But look at this. I snare the mech boy with a strip soul, and he can't move forward to pursue my guardsman with his electric armor. It's just getting wasted. All I had to do was draw my guardsman forward slightly. However, there is another Death Dread with the Cult of Speed, and I do not have a counter to it because my Commissar has already had to retreat. There was also a Frazzle there from the weird boy, which is doing some nice AoE damage. Yeah, and then his basic ability, the Terrifying Visions, will suppress a squad on demand, which generally you get this against melee, essentially, because you get two very good CC abilities. You buy the Strip Soul and you can snare a squad, or, more usefully, a hero. Even if the hero is immune to suppression, you can snare it like a Chaos Lord. And then you also have the Terrifying Visions to suppress a squad on demand. So you use those abilities, you suppress one with Terrifying Visions, then you use Strip Soul, and he can attack while he's using it. And his attacks will go through cover, because they're psychic, like a zone probe. So if these enemies are hiding behind a tank trap, you will hit them with full damage, which is really nice. Not that good against the heroes or the sub-commanders, because of course they have their only one model, but still. Telekinetic Dome, again, giving my units damage resistance inside that dome. And I think it also makes the enemies take more melee damage, but I don't... No, it doesn't. I think it... I don't know what it does, because it was bugged. It was meant to increase the melee skill of units inside it, but to be honest, I don't think it even does that. It's just a ranged damage resistance bubble, which is still helpful. So competing CC there, What Vomit goes in to push the Kadashans off. I'm trying to stall, using my old reliable and my shotgun blast to push them away off the VPs. This is obviously a VP win for me. That's what I'm trying to go for. That's my win con, is what I'm trying to say. With 10 VPs left for Best Noob. Compositionally, I am struggling, there's no doubt about it, but the Commissar just comes out again, protected by that dome, refractor field, protecting him from being knocked over by the weird boy attacks, and yeah, proccing those Stubbornness heals. It's a thing of beauty, guys. We do have a beamy mech boy in the back, which apparently, yeah, it can hit me from there. I was surprised. The more Daka, he gets another shot off really fast. And Holy shit, man. Commissar does end up going down. Death Dread's still in play. The Weird Boy goes down. Just absolute carnage. My only AV obviously right now, the Kadashan Devil, so the Death Dread just charges into melee with that. And I'm desperately trying to get the decap and it just will not happen. Level 4 Guardsman. These guys, yeah, everyone's level 4. Level 7 Mech. Level 6 Commissar. What the hell? Just so many models have died. So I obviously need to get the Commissar back right now to kill this Death Dread. I don't know how much requisition that is. With him being level 6, he's going to be probably rather expensive. But the Death Dread has to get out of there anyway because of the Melter on the Kadashans. Man. Look at that damage from the Psyker. Really nice chunks. Boom. The fact that it goes through cover is definitely one of the best bits. But he really chunks them down. Boom. Basically killing models every damn swing. And then he goes for a Death Gun on the mech, which, you know what, I've been seeing a lot of Death Gun recently, and it's actually pretty damn good against IG. It really is, with triple shooters and a Death Gun mech, yeah. Very strong against IG. It's just interesting as a late game play. But I do like it in Tier 1. And there we go again. Death Dread going to get taken out by the combination of the Commissar with that Power Claw and the Kadashan Devils. Met by a little bit exposed there. Not able to suppress the Guardsman that flank. And we're using Loyal to the end right now, so check out the HP on these bad boys. So they get more HP every time one of their allies dies. And then they execute for extra damage, forces off those shooters, and Besty has run out of troops. And he's going to lose on VPs. Though to be honest, he kind of lost anyway at this point. He lost so many things. But the VPs force you to play a desperate game that you otherwise wouldn't. You know, he wouldn't have been base raping me with a Death Dread, where the VP's not so bad for him. But there you go. This is actually a record that I've set, as far as I'm aware. You guys tell me otherwise if you know of any, but I don't think there is. This was the highest amount of model losses in a match. I'll actually show you. The highest amount of model losses in a game, in a tournament in Dawn of War 2, in a 1v1, where the person who lost those models won the game. I ended up losing a total of, drumroll please, come on then, load, 225 models. Absolutely ludicrous. 225 models lost. 111 reinforced. But we won the match. Level hit mech by the end and a level 7 Commissar. Absolutely insane. I hope you enjoyed that one, folks. Tiamat's Paradise is a very good map for IG. That's a tech if you're in a tournament. Just saying, boys. Just saying. Think about it. Torpid signing out.